Fantastic, Myrna. Thank you so much for that awesome introduction. So great to be with everyone this evening. And thank you so much for giving your most valuable resource that you're giving up this evening. I am super excited to share how to get paid clients without using social media, as in constantly posting on social media, without using paid ads, with technical websites, and especially without being weird or salesy, right? And so I think the best way to start off is really by using an analogy. I like analogies. Anybody else like analogies? So getting paid clients is like baking a cake. I bet you weren't expecting me to say that. So getting paid clients is like baking a cake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline some of the challenges that a lot of coaches have, and that a lot of the time that I had when starting out. All right. And so as I'm going through the process, I want you to ask yourself, do I have this problem? And if that's the case, I want you to go ahead and lean over to your computer, put your hands on the keyboard and type, "That's me." Can we do that? So if you hear a problem that resonates with you, type "That's me." Or if you're on your phone, just type "That's me" in the chat. Can we do that? Is that okay? Can I ask for a thumbs up? I want this to be, although it's a webinar and we have 33 people here, I want to make it as engaging and interactive as possible. So I'm going to be asking some questions, and I want you to go ahead and feel free to share with me in the chat. Okay, I'm not going to be able to read all of your messages, unfortunately, just because of the interest of time. But definitely go ahead and please share, "That's me." If you have questions and so on, I know that Myrna is going to be taking notes of that. And then we're going to do our best to answer some of your questions at the end. So problems with getting paid clients consistently. I don't have all the ingredients, right? So basically, how do I, what are the actual ingredients to get paid clients, right? A niche, offer, etc. I have all of the ingredients. Maybe you've done a lot of courses and there are things that you already know, but you don't really know the recipe. What's a step-by-step sequential guide or process to do that? Or you have all of the ingredients and the recipe, but you're not really putting it together. Okay, you're not quite baking the cake. You have all of the ingredients and the process, but you're too afraid of failing. So you're kind of hesitant. What if I get it wrong? Number 5, I've baked up a few clients before, but I can't seem to replicate the process. You're not really sure what worked, right? Maybe somebody reached out to you from your warm network and they were like, "Hey, I'm interested in coaching." And you started coaching them in a paid fashion, but you're not sure how to replicate that process again for a warm audience or even for a colder audience. 6, I'm giving away tons of free coaching sessions or pro bono sessions, mostly to the wrong audience, but not getting paid. That's 6. 7, I haven't narrowed down to a profitable niche yet. 7, I've got paid clients, but, so this is the scenario. If you've already got paid clients, you've got a few coming in. So you're satisfied, but, right, you don't have consistent paid clients because you don't have a system which brings in the right leads and converts them into long-term paying clients consistently, right? That's the key word. I've got paid clients, but I don't have an attractive high-ticket offer that attracts serious high-paying buyers. Instead, I'm selling my coaching services or packages by the hour to mostly non-ideal customers, okay? Or I have paid clients. I kind of, I've already got the ball rolling. I have some consistency, but, I have an offer and I have an offer, but my offer is hard or kind of impossible to sell because it hasn't been validated, right? So basically it hasn't been validated that this is something that the market or your audience actually wants. And so you're not really getting sales, you're not getting payments, and basically you don't have a business in that sense. Or, and you're at a place where your offer is not validated because maybe you haven't tested it, you haven't refined it, you haven't actually you haven't worked with enough people to actually prove that your offer and your process actually works and that it's something that people actually want. Okay, and so I just want to have a quick look at how many "that's me's" we have in the chat. All right, so we see a couple of numbers, we see a couple of "that's me's." Okay, great. Or I don't know who I'm selling to, right? Maybe you have all of these pieces, but you're not exactly sure who you're selling to. Maybe it's a little bit vague and ambiguous. I know who my audience or niche is, but I'm not nearly specific enough about who my target audience is, so I have no idea how to actually attract them online. So you're not using the right messaging and you're not positioned in the right way to really attract your ideal audience to your offer, right? The offer that they actually want. And the list goes on and on and on, right? So this is really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of some of the challenges out there. And we know that the market is more saturated than ever. We know, especially in a place like Lebanon, it almost feels like every other person is becoming a coach, right? And then the kind of the perception of coaching in some ways gets a little bit distorted. And it's such a beautiful and powerful thing that we have. It's like a superpower that we have, but we want to really be able to bring that out in a way that's special and unique. We want to stand out. Is that right? Are we on the same page here? Do we want the same things? Right? Okay, I'm seeing a couple of smiles. Give me a thumbs up as well, just to ensure that we're on the same page. Okay, great stuff. As I said, you're giving me your most valuable resource. I want to make sure that we deliver on that. All right, so you get your return on investment. The Get Paid Clients framework has been developed with over my years, with thousands of dollars invested in mentorship, as Myrna already mentioned, thousands of time spent implementing, testing, refining all kinds of strategies to try and simplify the process, to try and shorten the time period to actually get the result of paid clients, all without using social media, without posting on social media. Why? Because very early on, I looked into some strategies in terms of posting on social media or getting leads from social media. And I realized very early on that I wasn't prepared to do what it took to get leads on social media in the short term, because it required, from what I saw, a lot of time on your phone. Right. And then you go on social media. Tell me if this is you, right? You get onto social media and you start like creating content and that kind of thing. And then there's like this post that stands out to you. You're like, whoa, that's really interesting. And then, you can get distracted and hours go by and you've created a couple of posts or something like that. But then, it doesn't feel like you've really moved the needle forward, right? In terms of paid clients, in terms of your business. And so that's really the process that, I kept asking myself, how can I do this without having to rely on social media or posting content on social media to get paid clients? I just want to work with people. I don't want to feel like I need to expose myself on social media or dance around, on social media like a monkey, just so that I can get paid clients, right? Anyway, and thousands of silly mistakes and failing forward, hundreds and hundreds of hours spent mentoring and consulting coaches and getting clients and building a professional coaching business. And so it does bring me great joy to share this with you, in the hopes that, given you are convinced that it can help you get consistent paid clients, that you will implement. Please underline, highlight, circle that word in your mind, and go ahead and just type out the word implement and hit enter and share that in the chat with me, right? Just to kind of really embed that in the subconscious mind. We know how important that is as coaches, right? We really, the difference between results, the difference between, if you're at a place where you don't have paid clients and you want paid clients, or you have some paid clients and you want more and you want to systemize it, is really implementation. And so that's so important. If you walk away and you don't implement, pretty much all you have is just a whole bunch of information and no real transformation, right? And so given that you will implement every step to the T in order to get your first or next paid clients, and to be well on your own, to building more than just a business that allows you the freedom and independence to do what you love full time, but also to build a movement. It's not just about building a business, but it's about starting a movement that enables you to change the world, or at least change a little part of the world in your own unique way. You have a unique story. You have unique skill sets, right? Mindsets, things that strengths that you can bring to people. And I can think of few better ways to do that than building a profitable online business. So in order to get the most out of our workshop or our webinar here today, try and keep your phones away in terms of a distraction. Try to take as much notes, have a beginner's mindset. And then anytime you feel that there's an aha moment, something said or shared, and you're like, oh my word, I didn't think of it that way before, go ahead and share that with us. It'll be interesting to kind of see where the lights are going on. Is that fair enough? Can I get another thumbs up? Is that okay? Okay, great. So as you already know, step one, what are we going to discover in today's webinar? 4 simple steps, okay? 4 steps, that's it. There's quite a lot that goes into it. I'm going to do my best to keep it as short and to the point as possible, but 4 steps, really pay attention. And of course, there's going to be a recording. So if you feel like I speak a little bit too quickly, have some grace with me. We have limited time. And of course, there's a recording as well, so you can check that out. So step 1, how to ensure your niche is actually profitable. Step 2, how to ensure that you have an irresistible offer that you can sell. So step 1 is, who do we sell to? Step 2 is, what do you actually sell? Step 3 is, how do you attract the ideal audience, the who to the what, right? Without being weird or salesy. And then finally, how do we actually start converting these people into paid clients quickly and consistently without using social media etc., etc. All right, paid ads, technical websites. So I know that that Mona kind of already gave a bit of the backstory, but I'll just give a nutshell version of it. I'm going to skim through it really, really quickly. 2019, I got the dreaded news. I was laid off my job. We were in Dubai at that time, and I asked myself, do I either find another job in corporate, or do I kind of take a chance on doing what I love? And at that time, I had just kind of started getting into coaching and that kind of thing. And I asked myself, wouldn't it be amazing if I could actually, instead of find another job, which, my previous job I kind of really disliked, or, wouldn't it be nice, instead of going to find another job, I actually built a business around doing what I love, right? This coaching thing, personal development, helping people, making an impact. Now, obviously, mind you, I knew a little bit about business. I knew pretty much nothing about coaching. I had crazy imposter syndrome, but I knew one thing, and that was there's so much more that I could offer the world, right? I had this epiphany moment around about that time. And I was just like, I have a message, I have a story, I have a desire to help people. And maybe you kind of feel the same, right? Maybe you're just starting out and you feel like, man, there's so much more that I could give if only I could just kind of package what I have and put it out there and start changing the world in my own unique way. And so I kind of took the leap. And then when starting out in February 2019, I had super low confidence, imposter syndrome. I pretty much sucked at speaking. And you only really realize how bad you are at something when you actually try it, right? So I stood up and I realized, just having that very humbling moment, like, whoa, I'm actually pretty terrible at speaking. Anyway, tons of free programs or sessions, not getting paid my worth, clueless with social media, tons and tons of content, but no real progress, right? And obviously also no experience or confidence in building an online business. So, I mean, I just had no idea really what I was doing. Thanks to my mentor at the time, I was able to make a lot of progress in a very short space of time. And so I had that moment just like 3 months later after starting, where I managed to somehow get my first paid clients. And that was with me, not even fully applying some of the strategies, but actually that's when I realized, wow, this is actually possible, right? There's actually momentum here. This could really work, right? And November that same year, I launched my first signature program. At the end of that year, I met the first superhero, or the first woman coach that I started working with, because I was doing a lot more leadership coaching and training and that kind of thing. I was more into life coaching, leadership coaching. And then I started working with a really special lady by the name of Fatma. Perhaps maybe some of you may know her. And she started asking me questions around, hey, how did you build your business, right? As a coach. I mean, I'm a coach, like I would love to be able to do what you're doing. And so we actually started doing one-on-one business coaching, which later on became business mentorship and consulting. And I remember one session, at the end of one session, or the beginning of one session, I asked her, as I always did, I said, hey, Fatma, so like, what are your financial goals? And she gave me a number, and she said, and it was, at that time, it was a fairly high number for me. I was like, whoa, okay, that's a pretty generous goal. That's a good goal. And then I said, where are you at right now? And then she said basically that she had hit that goal. And as soon as she said that, I was like, that's like double what I'm making. And that's when I realized there's really potential. Yeah, I saw this group, this community of wonderful, amazing women coaches out there. Also men coaches, and no disrespect to the men, but it was mostly the women coaches that I really started working with male coaches later on. But I just saw this unique kind of wisdom and this potential and these skills. And all they were missing is just a couple of strategies and tools to simplify the process of really packaging that and being able to build a business around that. And that's when I decided, July 2021, that's when the Superhero project started, right? And Superhero is basically, I refer to them as women coaches that I was working with. And of course, I think we also have some of the superheroes or some of the coaches within the mentorship program that I have, a weekly mentorship program, that are probably also here this evening. If you are, yeah, obviously just go ahead and share in the chat, hey, Warren, I'm here. It will be great to see who of you are here. So anyway, that's when that started. Now, I'm going to be super real with you. I'm not a millionaire, nowhere close. All right. And I say yet in brackets because, of course, we want to leave room for possibility. I may become one day. I don't know. I may not. That's okay. I guess I'll leave that up to God and what he can trust me with. I simply have an online coaching business that's allowed me to have consistent income and do what I love full time and change a little part of the world in my own unique way. And it's also allowed me to do some really cool things like have a 3-month work or have 3-month work vacations back home in South Africa when I was in Dubai, right? September 2020, to travel to the US, one of my wife and I's dreams, September 2021. December 2021, so more traveling. We visited New York in March 2022, and then kind of coming back home to South Africa, just having that sense of being able to be more present with my family. I'm not kind of tied down to a job. There's a lot more flexibility, control, freedom. You know, my mother and my little sister's coming over around the time of Nakota's birth, our little 15-month-old. She's now 15. She was, you know, younger then. And so that's part of a little bit, that's a bit of my backstory in terms of where I came from, why I'm here, especially for some of you are perhaps wondering like, who's this coach, who's this guy, who's this mentor? So that's just kind of a backstory, but more importantly, some of my own personal reasons as to why an online business, right? For me, 2 main things, and that is impact, being able to make an impact through your skills, and then obviously also being able to have that sense of freedom to spend more time with the people that really matter and doing the things that really matter to you. If anyone resonates with that notion, and it's not necessarily for everyone, but if that resonates with you, just kind of type me in the chat, just like, you know, that resonates, or that's me, or thumbs up, or whatever the case may be. Okay. So either way, today I'm going to share with you how to get paid clients without using social media, paid ads, fancy websites, being weird or salesy. If you already, type rating in the chat real quick. I said that I'm going to tell you to do a lot of typing in the chat, right? So here we go. Type rating in the chat. Let's see how many readies we can get. Okay, we're seeing a lot of thumbs up. We're seeing a lot of me's in the chat. Okay, ready, ready, ready. Great stuff. Amazing. Step 1, are you ready? You got your pens out? How to ensure your niche is actually profitable. You've probably heard so much about niche, so I'm not going to go into the details of defining what a niche is, etc., but I am going to go into the details of how you actually get started. So I want you to pretend that you are starting from scratch in terms of not just your niche, actually everything. Is that okay? So like you're starting from scratch, and here we are. So a niche is like a compass. Without it, you're blind. In business, you're completely blind. A niche is like your foundation. Without it, you have nothing to stand on. So many coaches, I can't tell you how many coaches I've spoken to who build their website and they do the branding, they post content, they do all of these kind of really amazing, fancy things, but then they don't have the foundation of a niche and a validated offer. It's kind of like having a really fancy sports car and making it look really pretty and beautiful and amazing and fast and slick, but you get inside, you turn the key and nothing happens because you discover that there's no engine inside, right? So what I'm sharing with you today is really like the straight to the point, most organic starting point, so that you know exactly what to do, what those top 20% of things are to focus on that actually bring 80% of the results. So you're not distracted, you know what to do, okay? On a scale from 1 to 10, how clear are you on your niche? Real quick in the chat, 1 to 10, real quick. How clear are you on what your actual niche is or who your niche is, okay? Let's see some of the numbers we have. Okay, we have some pretty high numbers, medium numbers. People tend to shy away from the low numbers, right? Okay, so we have Laura there that shared 1. Good, thanks for your honesty. All right, and obviously all of these numbers are subjective anyway, right? So niche mistakes. As we're going through this, I want you to ask yourself, am I making this mistake? And if you are, just share a number in the chat, right? If it's mistake number 1, 2, 3, I think there's just 3. Okay, so 1, 2, or 3. The first one is doing only what you love or what you're good at, not addressing the actual pain. So you want to be starting from the perspective of kind of, you know, yes, what am I good at? What do I love? What am I excelling in? Absolutely. You're always going to get the highest return while operating in your passion and interest and strength zone. But if we only focus on that, we are at risk of not aligning that with the most important thing. And that is, what is the need and what are people willing and able to pay for? Because without that, you don't have a business. Without that, you don't have any paid clients, right? So if we only go off what we love and what we're good at, and that's why I shared a picture of me when I was much younger playing the bagpipes, because I had an analogy around that. If I started out in coaching and I loved bagpipes and it was just my passion and I wanted to share that with the world. But if there weren't enough people, if there weren't people that actually cared about solving the problem of not knowing how to play the bagpipes, I wouldn't have a business. Is that making sense? So basically, then we have a hobby. If we go onto the far side of only focusing on what the world needs or my market or my niche needs and something that they're willing to pay for only, then our soul is kind of run dry as we go through the process and it feels like we have another job. Kind of feels like we sold our soul in a sense, okay? So what we're looking for is really that sweet spot, that overlap in between. That's a sweet spot. Does that make sense? Okay. Mistake number 2. So let me know if you're making mistake number 1, share that in the chat. Mistake number 2 is being way too general and way too vague, like saying, I help empower people, right? Well, that's huge, right? I help people achieve their goals. That's super general. Here's the problem with being general, right? Is if you're too general, you're invisible. You blend in with the rest of the crowd. You don't stand out. And then what a shame, right? There's so much invested in your experience, in your story, in your coaching to just kind of blend in. So you want to make sure that you're not being general, right? And so if you're being too general, that's okay. You just want to make a note and then just kind of think about how you can start addressing that. I'm going to share with you exactly how you can go from general to being more specific. And so the idea here is that you could have the cure to something, serious like cancer, for example, but that means nothing if you're invisible, if nobody knows that you actually exist, or nobody knows where to find you, or that where to find you. Mistake number 2, being too general, not being specific enough. So on the same point there, what we want to do is we want to be a specialist, not a generalist. And so for those taking notes, write down, riches are in the niches. It's the American pronunciation of niches, right? Potato, potato. Number 3, focusing on the field rather than the problem you solve. So I've heard a lot of coaches say, and I used to do this exact same thing, say, I do this kind of coaching, or do health coaching, or career coaching, or leadership coaching. And my hope is that by the end of this webinar, you never say that again. Well, to anyone actually, right? Except if it's your peer coach. Because why? Because the market mostly doesn't care about your coaching or my coaching. They don't. They care about their problems. So we want to focus more on the problem and the solution to that. So as an example, instead of saying I help coaching, if you're in an elevator, somebody says, hey, what do you do? You're never again going to say I'm a career coach or a leadership coach. You're going to say I help mid-level career professionals boost their confidence and communication skills so that they can get promoted in 90 days or less. How much more compelling would that be if you're the ideal audience versus I do leadership coaching, right? Yeah, 4 ingredients real quick for a profitable niche. Number 1, pain. Number 1, pain. If people are not in pain, they're not going to be compelled to pay, right? So that's willingness to pay. The next thing is ability to pay. So we need willing people to solve the problem and an ability to pay. There's this amazing analogy that goes something like this. I learned it from Dan Locke. He says that you need to find a bleeding neck. When you're starting out, you want to find a bleeding neck. So as an example, if you have a little rash on your neck, right, it's itchy, it's annoying, it's a problem, but you're probably not going to spend much money trying to solve it. You might scratch a little bit, go to the pharmacy, get some cream. But let's say in a crazy scenario, you wake up at 3 a.m. and all of a sudden there's blood coming out of your neck, right? That's pretty gory, but I want to make a point. And there's blood coming out of your neck, and all of a sudden you're off to the ER in the ambulance and you're spending thousands of dollars on life-saving treatment. Does this make sense? So that means that not all problems are equal. So many coaches are solving these kind of low-level problems that aren't really compelling, that aren't a bleeding neck. So are you focused on a bleeding neck right now in your coaching? If you're not, are you focused on finding a bleeding neck? That's where the money is. That's the quickest route to paid clients and building a business, etc. Or are you addressing the little rashes? Number 3, a specific audience. So as in, I help who specifically? Stay-at-home moms, career professionals, middle-aged etc., right? And 4, with a specific problem. So you help a specific person with a specific problem that has a specific pain, as in, I help who with what, as in what problem or desire. We want to get super clear on what that is. So you want to ask yourself, the next question is, what market am I in? There are only 3. There are pretty much only 3. That's health, wealth, relationships. So let's do a quick exercise here. Let's pretend that we're going into business and we want to go through the process of finding a niche. Is that okay? So we're all in business. Amazing. Now we're looking at the different markets and we're saying, okay, which one should we move into? And so let's say we say, okay, we want to be in the relationship market. Okay, so in the relationship market, we go a little bit deeper and we see that there are relationship with others, as in parent-child, dating, couples, marriage. And on the other hand, there's a relationship with ourselves, which has to do with things like time management, stress management, self-discovery, purpose discovery. And so we choose the relationship with self, and under those, we all of us, under that umbrella or that circle, we see there are subcategories or sub-umbrellas with the names or categories: time management, stress management, life purpose or discovery. Let's say we choose time management. Okay, so now we've zoomed in, and all of a sudden, under life coaching, under time management, we see there's a whole bunch of, subcategories there in terms of who we're serving. So time management coaching for professional, time management coaching for stay-at-home moms, for executives, freelancers, women coaches. So you see how we're getting more and more specific, but we're still under the relationship category and still under the life coaching category. So let's say we choose time management coaching for professionals. So let's say that's kind of our niche, because that most aligns with our strengths and, our interests, and also most aligns with what the need is and what people are willing and able to pay for. So let's say there's time management coaching for professionals, and all of a sudden we can branch out into for banking professionals, for healthcare professionals, IT professionals, education professionals. Whoops. There we go. Education professionals, and let's say we choose healthcare professionals. So now we've gone from, super general to a lot more specific. Time management coaching for healthcare professionals. Which location are we talking about? Like in Lebanon, UAE, Saudi, Kuwait, and then even within an area, geographical area, you can even niche down further. You rather want to risk going too specific than going too general. So first go way too specific and then start branching out. So I started working within a very specific niche in, business consulting for helping women coaches with their business, etc., primarily from the Middle East and that kind of thing. I got super specific, and then you branch out, and now we're at a place where we're diversifying a little bit more. Dan Locke says this, I want you to write it down, and that is, you want to dominate a specific place before you diversify. So dominate before you diversify. In my words, zoom in, then zoom out. Make sense? So let's say we take this even further. So time management coaching for healthcare professionals in Lebanon. What's the nature of their business? Who have multiple locations, who have one location, right? Who are on this block or that block. Now you see we're getting super specific, right? Does anybody feel a little bit confused? You feel like you've been in a time warp or a carousel or amusement park ride? Let's break that down again. So let's say we're in the niche of life coaching, and we narrow down to time management coaching. We narrow down to time management coaching for professionals. We narrow down to time management coaching for professionals in the healthcare sector. We narrow down to time management coaching for healthcare professionals in the banking sector in Lebanon who have multiple locations. Time management coaching for professionals in the healthcare sector in Lebanon who have multiple locations. And so if you, whatever your rating was, I want to say that if you don't have this kind of detail and you put a 10, you are not on a 10, right? You're a little bit further down from a 10. So just kind of raising awareness, in terms of, how specific we really should be getting, and also what the process is. And so right now, ask yourself, what niche am I in? Relationships, wealth, health, really think about that. And it really comes to the problem that you're solving, and it comes to the result that you're providing. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how specific are you in terms of, so general is like, we're at the 3 core eternal markets: health, wealth, and relationships. And specific 10 is like, that would be a 1, and the other one, the 10 would be as specific as what I shared with you. quickly share in the chat. Let's see. Okay. So we have, all right, so we have some people that are super, super specific already. Some people not so much. Okay. Oh, I was reading somewhere else, I think. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks for sharing. So I want us just to take a quick break. I want you to take a quick breath, because maybe you're already feeling a little bit overwhelmed. And if you are, that is okay. It's a little light bulb that's going on that's saying you're growing. And so if you feel overwhelmed, take a breath and just say to yourself, it's okay. I'm growing. I'm expanding the context of my thinking. All right. And some of you, you're like, yeah, maybe I already knew this. And then you want to ask yourself, how well am I actually applying this? And so for those of you who actually want some help applying this framework, because I'm going to share with you the framework, I'm not holding anything back. But oftentimes what I've found is when it comes to implementing something, that people tend not to implement it properly. And so they don't really get the results. The results are diluted or they're not consistent. And so that's really where mentorship and coaching is so extremely valuable. And so if you are at a place where you're like, hey, this is amazing, but I really want some help on implementing, I do have a couple of spots available for our Get Paid Clients 30-day challenge program mentorship, specifically for coaches. It's for women and men. And so what you want to do is you just want to go ahead and click on that link or copy over that link. I think Myrna just shared that in the chat as well. Yeah, Myrna just shared that in the chat. And so you can just click on that link and book a call with me. Again, I'm only taking a couple of people. If you tend to be on, the back side of booking, or if you book late, we may still be able to accept you. It would just be on a waiting list basis. And obviously I'll do my best to make sure that I cater to as many people as I possibly can. All right. So now are you ready for step 2? And that is, we've addressed the who do we sell to, somebody that is willing and able to pay. Now the next thing is, okay, well, what do I actually provide? What do I provide? Because I can tell you one thing, you don't provide coaching, you provide something deeper. And so this is how to create that deeper thing, that value proposition, that offer that your clients actually want. I'll say that again, that your clients actually want, because that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest challenge, is building something and we're like, oh, this is amazing. But then put it out there and we're like, oh, oops, it's actually not that amazing, right? And just starting out, to be fair enough, for most of us, we're not going to create something that amazing because we're starting out, right? We need to test out the market. We need to get good at what we're doing, testing the frameworks and that kind of thing. And so it's pretty much a big part of this journey is just okay with being not okay. Okay with just like sucking at first, being okay with that until we do it more and more and more, until we kind of suck a little bit less, or we're not as bad, until one day we get to a point where we're like, hey, I'm actually pretty good. Okay. Having your own irresistible offer helps you to transform your expertise into something valuable. It helps you to command premium prices, to get paid more, to get paid your worth and more, helps you to maximize your clients' results. It helps position you as the go-to professional in your niche, and it helps you to create a lot more demand. So you're actually attracting people to you and not chasing people or feeling like you need to chase people and then kind of chasing them away. People don't buy. Reason number 1 is because the coaching offer isn't valuable. That is, the value of your offer is less than the price of your offer. What do I mean by this? How do people make buying decisions? Ever thought about that? How they make buying decisions is perceived value. So there are 2 bars, and I want you to remember this always as you are thinking about value, regardless of what you're selling, even if it's an idea. Even if you're selling your child on the idea of brushing their teeth. So for example, our 5-month-old right now is at a place where she hates the idea of brushing her teeth, right? And so even, we're even thinking creatively on how we can sell her the value of brushing her teeth. Not that she would do it on herself, but that she would let us brush her teeth, right? So there's, on the one side, we have value, which is perceived. And then we have what's the actual cost, the price of the thing that we're selling. At any given moment, that's what your coaching or your offer is, right? Or represents or has. So if they perceive that the value of your offer is higher than the cost of getting it, that's the price, right? So if the value is higher than the cost of getting it, they will buy. They'll be like, oh, this is a bargain. I'm getting so much value for such little cost. We all make decisions this way, right? Okay. If the perceived value is lower than the cost of getting it, so the cost is high compared to the value, the idea is, oh, that's a ripoff. I'm getting such little value for such high cost. They're like, no way. And they don't buy. They don't buy, or they ghost you, or they say things like, oh, I'll get back to you, or I have money problems, right? But the real reason oftentimes is I just don't see the value, because people find ways of making money, arranging money for things that they really need. Think about bleeding neck. People have a bleeding neck. They're not like, oh, I'll get back to you. Like it's something serious. Is this making sense so far, everyone? Solution number one is that we lower the price. That's a super easy thing to do. It's kind of the lazy solution, right? Doesn't require any creativity. We're lowering our price. And then you fall into the trap that everyone else does. And you just have this little race to the bottom, right? Because the price can only go to zero. That's it. What else do you think we could do? What would solution two be? Well, what if we don't even touch the price, but instead we increase the value? So now that discrepancy is, well, it scales to infinity, basically. And that requires creative thinking. We want to constantly be asking, what is valuable to our audience, and how can we create so much value, they would feel crazy to say no to our offer. That's what I'm going to teach you how to do. So, as a rule of thumb for those taking notes, don't lower your price. Instead, increase the value. Don't lower your price, increase the value. And that's why, and if you have a dictionary, I want you to go to the dictionary and go to the word discount, and I want you to scratch it out of the dictionary and out of your vocabulary if you want to build a profitable business and be positioned from the rest of the coaches out there. Can we do that? I see some of us like running off. I can imagine that. Reason people don't buy number two is that they have lower average pricing. We say, oh, well, what is the market pricing, right? Any of us done that before? That leads to low perceived value because, oh, that's cheap, right? That's the thinking, therefore low demand. It's kind of like if you think about 3 chocolate boxes, right? If you have one that is quite low priced, the perception will be, oh, that's pretty cheap. Average priced, oh, that's kind of average. High priced is premium. Does that make sense? So linking onto that thought is that you don't stand out. You're just like everyone else. So that's your own personal brand is jeopardized because your price is your positioning in the marketplace. And so if you start super low, then that perception, your first impression to the marketplace is, oh, I'm the cheap coach, right? And if you're the cheap coach, you tend to attract cheap clients in a sense. Average, I'm an average coach, right? Or high prices signals premium. I'm not like everyone else. I'm in a category of one. Is this making sense so far? Okay. Low client enrollment. That's what happens. Low commitment, right? Low quality clients, low results, low satisfaction for both of you. Brand reputation goes down. For those taking notes, Russell Brunson once said, or has said frequently, that people that pay attention. I like to put it this way. People who invest are invested, and the more they invest, the more invested they are. And the more invested they are, the better results they get, the better your reputation is. Everyone wins. And you have brand equity, something that's becoming so much more important in this digital information age that we live in. Okay. So if you have a number of clients if your number of clients needed to hit 5K per month, your 5K per month goal was 2 clients with an offer price of 2.5, not 3.5. It's a typo. Basically, if my goal is 5K and my offer is 2.5K, that means I need 2 clients per month, right? So your number of clients needed to hit the same goal with an offer price of 500 is like 10. So you have a lot more leverage. Now we don't need to try and find 10 clients or 20 clients per month. We just need to find 2. Or if you have a high ticket offer of $5,000, you just need to find 1 client. That is so much easier, I promise you, than thinking, how am I going to get to 10 clients? All right. Low confidence because you're not getting sales. You're like, whoa, like nobody likes my stuff, right? Low sales conviction, and that leads to lower and lower sales. So how do we increase the value, the perceived value of our offer? There are 2 reality checks that we need to embrace here. The first one is people don't buy what they need. They buy what they want. How many times have you caught yourself saying this? And I'm guilty saying, man, if only that person could Oh, if only that person could get my offer. Or they need the coaching. Look at their life. Look at their relationships. They need this. People only buy what they want, not what they need. So that's kind of a harsh reality check for us. There's this idea sometimes we say like, oh, I think this is what I think they want this, or I think they'll find this valuable. These are all assumptions, right? It doesn't matter what we think or what we perceive. What matters is what they think and they perceive. And that's why it's so important to get out there and actually deal with actual clients. Do the research. Therefore, we must focus on their perceived value. What makes people perceive something as valuable? What makes somebody say, oh, I want that. That is valuable. I want. Or emotion. Two emotions, pain, the strongest one, and then pleasure, the lesser one, but just also very relevant. Okay. I think we already know this. People are want to move towards pleasure and they want to move away from pain. Pain is the stronger driver. So how do we get people to make decisions about our offers? Create offers, coaching, and position them in ways that speak to those certain pains and those pleasures. That's like marketing in a nutshell, in a sense, and innovation even in a nutshell. If you can show them how your offer moves them away from pain and toward pleasure, you have a winner. So how do we actually do this? I'm going to borrow this framework, this brilliant, amazing framework, and it's really the summary and central point of from the book, $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. You may have heard of him. He's pretty much the go-to guy in the world of business with a valuation net worth of well over, 100 million. And he has very much mastered the art of how do you build $1 million business. And this book is all about how do you create $1 million offer. And this is it. I'm giving it to you right now. All right. So it's not mine. I'm just borrowing it. And of course, these were things that he learned over the years that have been there, that have been passed on from, generation to generation in terms of, people, masters in the world of marketing and business. But here it is. It is dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided by time delay times effort and sacrifice. That equals perceived value. Maybe you're a little bit confused. You're scratching your head. You're like, what? That's fine. I'm going to take you step by step through it. So dream outcome. We need to never forget that we're ultimately taking somebody from point A to point B. That's fundamentally the core meaning of the word coach, right? It's like A, B, like overweight, not overweight, not that much money, a lot of money, right? No business, business, no paid clients, paid clients. And we need to ask, is this meaningful to them? How willing are they able to pay to achieve this? Think about that. What's my client's point A and point B? If your offer doesn't speak to that, you don't have an offer. How do we speak to a dream outcome? Quick analogy. So any of us I'm sure many of us have been to Dubai, some of us even staying in Dubai. And when you got to Dubai for the first time, unless you grew up there, one of the first places you wanted to go to was Burj Khalifa, because you're like, wow, tallest building in the world. That's amazing. And so you probably got on the metro or in the cab to get there. How many of you actually remember your cab ride or your metro ride to the Burj Khalifa or Dubai Mall? Probably not many of you, because that wasn't the memorable part. You were thinking about, whoa, I'm going to see the fountains. I'm going to see Dubai Mall. I'm going to see Burj Khalifa. You weren't thinking about your ride as you were doing that. That's exactly what we do when we focus too much on our offer rather than the ideal destination of our audience. Does that make sense? So we want to focus not on the coaching offer, the stuff, the thing. Like we geek out about it because it's interesting and we studied and we like, it's amazing. But we get like all techno babble about it. And then just like our clients switch off. You can see in their eyes, they're like, oh yeah, that's interesting. I mean, they see your conviction, but they're not really getting it. Doesn't connect with them because you need to link it to the destination. What is the dream outcome they're looking for? What is the end result? That is your value proposition. That's your value proposition. So my value proposition to tonight is get paid clients without using social media, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. It's not business workshops. So which one do you think was more attractive? If I titled tonight's session webinar as 90-minute business workshop for coaches, would that be interesting? No, you wouldn't waste your time on that. You'd be like, what is that even? Business workshop? Okay, it's for coaches, but ambiguous. You don't know what it is. It's not attractive. Now, it may be something super valuable, but you wouldn't know because you wouldn't care because the wrapper wasn't attractive. but rather you want to focus specifically on the core dream outcome, which in my case is get paid clients without using social media. That is your UVP, aka unique value proposition. So that's your dream outcome. Do I have a compelling dream outcome for my audience? We're moving on to the second part, right? And that is perceived likelihood of achievement. So the biggest risk that people kind of face is, okay, that sounds amazing, but what if it doesn't work? Or if I'm convinced that it works because there's testimonials, but what if I can't do it? Does that make sense? So what you want to do is there are certain things that you want to include in your offer and present to increase the perceived value by increasing the perceived likelihood of achievement with things like, for example, being a lot more or conveying your experience or your credentials or your story or your, right? Which, if there was a serious operation to be had on a family member or yourself, who would you prefer? A general practitioner with a year of experience with 3- and 4-star reviews, or specialist surgeon specializing in that area with 20 years of experience and 100 5-star reviews? Of course, the other one is more credible, right? So we have often, many of us are certified. We want to use that certification, right? Because people don't know. Maybe your family knows and people within your circle, they know. But if you want to scale and grow your business and get more paid clients, you have to go beyond your existing network to a colder audience that doesn't know that stuff. So you got to show them that stuff. So for example, that's why I have something like this, right? That says, oh, this is who I am. And how long, what does it take to make something like this? Like super quick, right? It's your photo. Who am I? What are my field of expertise? And just link those things to what the client needs. A proven method, like the Get Paid Clients Framework, testimonials, guarantees. The next one is time delay. So if your prospect is asking, how long will it take me to get this result? So what would be better for you and more valuable if I were to present you either, I can help you get paid clients in 30 days or 3 months? Which one's more valuable? Of course, right? Because we're paying for speed. Speed is more valuable. It's higher, or decreasing the time delay. So here's a question. What's the shortest possible time frame in which I can promise the most significant result? Write that question down. It's loaded. What is the shortest possible time frame in which I can promise the most significant result? And that's how you start refining your core framework until it becomes a proven method, signature framework. And that's this core thing that you use as a center point to create all of the content that you have, whether it's for social media, your signature program, whether you want to write a book, right? Alex Hormozi's core framework thing is the value equation, and that's the basis of his book. But he's also got a training online course for it. But he does some YouTube videos based on it. So that's the core. Does that make sense? You could call it a signature framework if you wanted to. And the last thing is effort and sacrifice. So your prospect is asking, what's it going to take for me to lose weight? What are the common pains involved in the journey of achieving their result and limitations that they might have? You get to know this the more you work with people. In what ways can you help them to achieve this result without these common pains? So what did I do? The more I work with coaches, I was like, these coaches really hate social media. Bingo. I can help you to get paid clients without social media. And I can't tell you how many times just in the past week, coaches ask them when they get onto the call because they're interested in the 30-day program, ask them, what got you interested in the program? They say, you said somewhere on your social media, or you said on the landing page or something like that, you said without social media, and that got me. So what are those things for your niche, right? A weight loss example. So basically somebody's overweight and you want to help them lose 5 kilograms. If you can, and what are some of the core struggles when it comes to that, right? Giving up foods they love. I have to struggle with meal prep. I have to spend hours in the gym. I'm very little availability. I have low metabolism, etc., etc. Well, what if you said, well, I can help you to lose 5 kilograms in 5 weeks without giving up your favorite foods, without struggling with meal prep, without spending hours in the gym, even if you have a busy schedule, even if you have a low metabolism? How much stronger is that value proposition? How much more valuable is the offer than if you didn't include that? I bet you there are some frameworks that you're already using that enable people to do things in unique and different and interesting ways that help them avoid the common pains that are extremely valuable, but perhaps you're not accessing that. Is this making sense? Okay, so that's what it looks like. For example, for me, Get Paid Clients, and I've got the Get Paid Clients framework. I'm John Maxwell Team certified. I've got testimonials. I can help you to do it in 30 days. I say or less, more or less, because it depends from coach to coach, without using social media, paid ads, etc. And even if you have no business background or big network, or you're not tech savvy, okay? So increase the top of the equation and decrease the bottom part of the equation, and you have boosted perceived value. If you want the value of your coaching offer and also your brand as a coach to be above the rest of the other audience there that are super general, do just this one thing, and you'll instantly start seeing a fairly significant difference. Another way to put this is the UVP statement, which is I help ideal audience with desired outcome without pain or sacrifice in this time frame, and even if they have this limitation. Example, I help women coaches get paid clients without using social media, etc., in 30 days, even if they have no business experience, etc. Is that making sense? So that's your value proposition, and you use that for everything that you do. If you need to do a talk, a seminar, a webinar, you need to do a social media post, you need to do a training, you need to write a book, it all comes back to this. You want to create an offer, it all comes back to this, because you're serving now one audience and one thing. And so this is essentially what your offer would look like, right? Let's give some examples. 30-day get promoted challenge, a coaching program for IT professionals to get promoted in 30 days or less without jumping from interview to interview, and even if you don't have a powerful network. In the weight loss space, coaching program to help working men lose 5 kilograms without giving up your favorite foods, without using harmful drugs, even if you have a low metabolism. The lose 5 kgs in 5 weeks. So not the health challenge, super vague. It's speak straight to the result. Lose 5 kilograms in 5 weeks. Either that person or your audience finds that valuable or not, right? But the ones that do, they're going to be super clear, and they're going to know exactly what it is. This is my program as well, and for those of you who are interested, who booked a call, this is essentially what it is. And I'm also going to share with you what that looks like at the end of the session as well, for those who are interested in helping with implementation, right? 30-day Get Paid Clients Challenge. It's a mentorship program for coaches to get paid clients without, etc. And so you want to think about, let me go back here. What is your offer? What's the time frame you can promise the smallest, most significant result? In 30 days, I don't help women coaches build and scale their business. Those are my other programs, but I just solve that one most pressing, annoying problem. It's like a mosquito bite. What is their mosquito bite that they're scratching right now that you can help them solve in a unique and different way? Then you want to say, what's included in my offer, right? So it's not just about coaching, because coaching only speaks to one requirement of achievement, which is more of the mindset part of things. But you need skills, you need knowledge, you need results, you need tools, you need accountability, so include all of those things. What are all of the things that my client might need to achieve their results? So for my program, I don't just give one-on-one mentorship. I give them the framework, I give them the tools, I give them an implementation calendar. There's a level of accountability. There's a whole bunch of things. So to create compelling bonuses, ask yourself, what else in addition to my one-on-one coaching or mentorship is needed to help them to achieve their goal quicker and with more ease? That's the only reason why people sign up for anything mentorship and coaching related, is because it can get them there quicker and it can simplify the process. My mentors personally have helped me make the difference between achieving goals that I wanted to achieve in like 3, 5, 6 years in like 6 to 8 months, right? So they're paying X amount of dollars and they're getting speed or simplicity or both. That's what you want to demonstrate to them, especially because what we're selling feels a little bit intangible. It's not like you're selling a mouse or a microphone or a phone or whatever. It's like coaching, like what is that? You want to make it super, super clear through presenting a very compelling, unique value proposition, which you then present in an offer that is the delivery vehicle to achieve that. Okay, then you give a total and you give a special offer. Let's take a quick break. All right. Any of us feeling a little bit overwhelmed? Just give me your hands. I want to see. Okay. Reese's like, no. Okay, I can only see some of you here. All right. Anyone feeling a little bit overwhelmed? Just slightly? Okay. All right. I told you I'm holding nothing back. So yeah, if you want help implementing the framework, that's the Calendly link. You can book a call and apply for the 30-day program, and we can have a discussion about if we're a good match in helping you to get there in 30 days, more or less, without using social media, etc. Step number 3. All right. So now we're on the latter half of this, and this is the quicker half, I promise. All right. Because step 1 and 2 are the most foundational. So that's who do we sell to? What do we sell now? How do we actually attract people to that without being weird or salesy? Any of us have this experience or the challenge of how do I find enough of the right leads? That's probably the number one practical problem that you have after you have your niche and your offer is like, okay, well, how do I get people in? Because if we don't have people, we don't have a business, right? No qualified leads, no paid clients means no business. Is there anyone who resonates with this scenario? I want paid clients, but social media isn't working for me. I was told that I should just go put myself on social media and somehow clients are going to magically come to me, and it wasn't happening. Maybe you were super consistent, but still no paid clients, right? That was my experience, especially when starting out. Introducing warm reach out. Now, this is the messaging system and attraction method, and what I believe should be the very first form of marketing that you do. And this is not just me saying this, this is like Alex Hormozi and other experts. Warm reach out is the first, should be, I believe, the first thing that you do to get paid clients. And it's the thing that allows you to get paid, attract new leads, and eventually get paid clients without having to use social media or post on social media, without using paid ads, technical websites, all of that stuff. Hence my value proposition. The disclaimer here, and it's important, don't say I didn't warn you, is that warm reach out is laborious. It is time intensive. But it's especially for those who have more time than money, which is usually the case when starting out. And even if you have more money than time, you still don't want to skip this step, right? So warm reach out is laborious. It takes time. Welcome to business, right? But it's the cheapest and most reliable way to get paid clients. It's the cheapest and most reliable way to get paid clients. Warm reach out. It helps you to get paid clients without using social media, etc. And it also helps you to learn and master the essentials of marketing or attracting clients, which then translate to all of the other higher leverage methods. So after you first got your first few paid clients, you're not going to continue doing warm reach out. You're going to start switching to paid ads. That's exactly what I did. That's what I do. And I still, to this day, I still do warm reach out. Warm reach out is the reason why probably a lot of you, some of you are even here, because you got a message saying, hey, so-and-so, by the way, I'm doing this webinar. Is this something of interest to you? Just adjusting my timer. And so, yeah, it translates to high leverage methods, high leverage marketing methods. So make sure that you do not skip this step. How to attract dream clients without using social media. Step 1, you got to get a list. There's no way around it. You got to have a list of people. Otherwise, forget about building a business, right? So a phone contact list, social media accounts, right? And when I say social media, I don't mean posting. I don't mean I don't mean like posting content and that kind of thing. I mean reaching out to your followers, people who have some connection with you, friends, followers, connections, your email list, and anywhere else where you have connection to humans. And we all have connection to humans. We all at least know about 500 to 1,000 or more people, more or less. And if we don't, well, then, as Alex Hormozi says, welcome to planet Earth, right? So add them all up and you can have them in different tabs. So this is my social media contacts for all of the different platforms. This is my phone list or WhatsApp contact, email, etc. Add them all up, and that's your list when starting out. And you really don't need that many to get your first sign up. Okay. It's for some it takes like 100 people. Some it takes 200 people, 300 people, 400 people, 500 people. So this is a tracking system on how to actually track the leads, because you may be asking, okay, well, how do I track it, right? Super simple. You put it in Excel, and there are certain things that you want to be tracking in categories. Everybody's a little bit different and tracks different things, but I have a file or a template. And so if you're interested in this exact template, it's just really simple. And it's the one that I use to track the leads. to make sure that they're organized, because there's quite a lot of leads, then email me at wn@warren-nel.com. I forgot to put that there. So wn@warren-nel.com, and just give me the words CRM and I'll send it over to you. Okay. Step 2 is reach out to them with your offer. This is a free version of your program. We don't have enough time to go into the details of what that is and what that looks like, but basically it's a free program, like a 30-day, 20-day program that solves a specific narrow problem in a complete way. All right. So you're giving away these free programs. You're basically reaching out. And so you're going to use the simple message sequence so it's not weird or salesy. Before we do this, I wanted to just give me a quick thumbs up in the chat, because round about this time in the webinar or in sessions or masterclasses, we tend to get a little bit more tired, especially if you've been kind of sitting. I encourage you to stand up, right? Or wiggle your toes. If you don't want to stand up, take a deep breath, do some like hand raises or something like that. Okay. Snap your fingers. All right. Again, because I don't want this to just be, oh, this is another masterclass or webinar. This is like life-changing or business-changing stuff, and it's really simple and it really works. And yes, there's a little bit of a learning curve, especially if you're starting out. It's just like, whoa, that's a lot. But I'm literally sharing with you not just the principles, not just even the strategies. I'm sharing with you like the tactics step by step by step. Okay. Perfect. Are we ready? I saw a new influx of messages come in. There's about 12. So I assume that those messages say, amazing, Warren, we're ready. No, we're still awake. This is going to be amazing. Okay, great stuff. So you've got your list, you've got your offer, you've got your niche, and now you're going to reach out to them. That's like the scary part, right? You're like, oh, and what you got to do with reach out is you just got to rip off the Band-Aid. Seriously, there's no other way to do it. Just rip off the Band-Aid. Because if you're going to if we let that stop us, then we'll never build a business. We'll never impact lives. We'll never, etc. What you find is after you do the first 5, you're like, wasn't so bad. Still a bit scary, but wasn't so bad. Do another 5, do another 5. Do your first 20, 50. After your 100th reach out, you're almost like a different person in a sense. You're like, oh yeah, this is, and you could do 100 reach outs in a day. And so you could literally transform your mindset in that regard in just a day. Okay. Enough about that. Step 1, send a personalized message. So we're out there, or maybe we're LinkedIn, and we're starting with contact number 1 or WhatsApp contact list number 1, and you say, hi, so-and-so, how's it going with you? Now, please don't copy exactly this framework word for word, because of course you're going to personalize your message in your own way, your own dialect, cultural style. Right? I'm just giving you a general thing that I would tend to do. Hey, so-and-so, how things going with you? Pro tip, especially for DMing on social media accounts, personalize it with something relevant to them. Otherwise, they might be like, oh, how's it going with you? What? So check their profiles, do a little bit of homework. Remember, you're investing in the process of learning what it takes to actually start building your business. This is huge. This is like university. It's not just like you're reaching out. So take the time, learn that process. And the more you do it, the more you build up the skills. And then when you get to using paid ads, it's just so much easier. Okay. So check their profile and ask yourself, what is something I could use to connect with them on? Think like life events, achievements, interesting posts. So as an example, hey, so-and-so, I saw you just got promoted. Or hey, so-and-so, I saw that post. That was a killer post and I really resonate with this because, etc. Right? And we're speaking to humans. So just like speak as if you're speaking to a human. Their response might be something like, if they know you, hey, a long time. Yes, that's right. I'm in manager now. Super excited. Then you hear them and paraphrase and affirm them. We know how to do that as coaches and say, wow, nice. I can imagine the excitement. That's a big responsibility. Pro tip, be human and authentic. Don't be weird, right? Step 3 is follow up with a question, right? This is optional. You don't necessarily have to do this. And we don't have time to go into the details of when to do it and when not to do it, but just kind of feel it out. If you're in career coaching, link the question to that domain. How are you feeling in your new position? If you're life coaching, are you able to find harmony between your personal and professional life? If you're in fitness, are you able to still find time to hit the gym? Pro tip, ask the question based on the nature of the relationship with them. Okay, next. By the way, here is where you actually offer your program, highlighting the UVP. By the way, do you know any audience who are struggling with problem or want this result, I'm taking on 5 case studies free of cost, and I just want to get some testimonials for my program. So because I want to get testimonials is so important, because oftentimes when you give free stuff, people are like, too good to be true. Something's weird there. You tell them, because I'm getting some more testimonials for me, and it's going to help me. So it's not just some random free stuff that you're giving and then, people question. And it's genuinely the case. You genuinely want to build your profile, because that's what you're going to use to then create more value in your offer and validate your offer and start charging for your offer. You affirm and you say, I help them get this result in this amount of time without effort and sacrifice. Notice the UVP, even if they have this certain limitation that they might have. Does anyone come to mind? Highlight, Does anyone come to mind? Not, are you interested? Because that might be a little bit weird or salesy. Hey, I've got this piece of gold that is so life-changing. Does anyone come to mind? Think about that. It would be crazy for them not to either accept that, or at least be like, hey, that's a pretty cool offer, even if it's not for me, right? And so the different responses, okay, let me give some examples here. So weight loss would be, by the way, do you know any working professionals who are struggling to lose weight? I'm taking on 5 case studies free of cost and just want to get some testimonials for my Lose 5 kilograms in 5 weeks program. I help career professionals lose 5 kilograms in 5 weeks without giving up foods they love, even if they have a low metabolism. See, there's your value proposition. Does anyone come to mind? There's career advancement, right? I'm not going to go through all of them because we only have a little bit of time left, but you get the idea. And of course, you can see this next time, or you can take a screenshot. I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Response options. So we're like, oh, what are they going to say? Are they going to think I'm weird or salesy or a creep? They might ignore you, which is totally, totally fine. And you want to get used to rejection. That's part of life. That's part of business. You want to get over it as quick as possible and grow through that. Or they say they don't know anyone. That's also perfectly fine, because now they have been put in your value proposition and you have been put in their awareness. And oftentimes people are like, oh, they're talking to somebody. They're like, oh, a coach asked me about this the other day. I think this may help you, because now it's in their awareness, kind of activating their minds in a sense. Not for everyone, but for people, for some people potentially. 3 is that they're interested in themselves, right? Which happens a lot. They're like, whoa, yeah, anyone who's interested? Yes, me, right? And then you say, okay, since I'm only taking on 5 people, I can give you personalized one-on-one attention and help you step by step towards your goal. Here's how you can sign up, right? So then you give a clear call to action. To qualify and reserve your spot, we do a quick call to get to know each other better, discover your goals, your challenges, see for a good match. Based on that, we share the details and etc. To reserve a spot, book a quick call here. Very important. They are booking a call with you because they are interested in your offer. You are not chasing, you are not pushing, you are not coercing. And you also definitely are not going to do that in the call. You're just going to conduct a discovery call to see if you're a good match. Super clean, super confident, super efficient, integrous, no funny business, right? So they're booking the call. If they give response number 4, which is if they know someone and they refer them, that's also amazing. Because if somebody refers somebody that they know, that's a higher level lead, because they are warmer, because you're leveraging the trust of that person. Or you could just simply refer send them the referral message. Or you would say, okay, could you share their contact with me? So you get their contact, or you simply have them share a referral message, which they can easily then forward. And then you share a short referral message. This is what I tend to do. I make it super easy for people to forward. So I say, here's the referral message, just forward it to them. And the easier it is to share, the more they'll tend to share. And the more referrals you get, the less time and money you need to spend on marketing. Okay. So you definitely want to make it easy to share. Then you conduct a confirmation or discovery call, or what I like to call a scholarship call. And again, you just want to, in order to ensure you're working with the right people within your ideal target audience, you don't want to waste other people's time. You don't want to waste your time. And so you first have that discovery call, right? This is to qualify whether you want to give this opportunity to this person based on alignment, capacity, and commitment, right? You want to make sure that you're working with people also that are likely to get results, because they are the ones that need to give you the testimonials. Okay. So that's why you first do that call. You're not just randomly giving away, calls. And this is what you do. You get to know them, their goals, challenges, their readiness of commitment. You decide whether or not you want to work with them, and then you onboard them or not. So the last step, we're ready for this. We're ready for the landing. I've done my very best to try and squeeze everything that I could into the shortest possible time frame without skimming through everything, but also without talking too quickly so that it sounds like a language maybe you don't understand. But yeah, we are ready for step 4. So you got your niche. Who do I sell to? You've got your value proposition and your offer. That is, what do I actually sell? You have a system for attracting people without being weird or salesy. You're learning core marketing skills through going through that process, which then will be transferable to when you can start using paid ads to scale. And later on, social media content, if you want to. I still don't use social media content to get free leads, by the way. For me, it's warm outreach and mainly paid ads. That's like my secret, and it's not even my secret. Like, many people are doing that. Anyway, so you have that, and now you are onboarding people for your free program. So some of us, I can hear some of us saying, oh, do I need to like spend like 20 days with somebody with like personalized results and that kind of thing? If you want to get paid clients, you want to build a business, yep. Right. And so what you're doing there is you're actually, especially if you're starting out, you are getting so much more. I can guarantee you, you're getting so much more from that deal than what that client is. No matter how much you're helping that client, you're getting so much more, or it's possible that you are getting so much more for many of us when starting out, because you're not only getting good, gaining confidence, refining your framework, getting essential data from your actual audience that you're working with to then use to improve your offer so that it's more validated, so that it's something that people want, using those 4 value elements of the value equation. But you're also all of those things, and you're learning how they describe their problem. And that gives you the marketing firepower to write the right messaging in terms of your content, your warm outreach, any form of marketing, your paid ads, whatever, that resonates with them. I had somebody reach out recently, a few actually, but especially one lady. She said, on WhatsApp, she said, I checked your ad, and I checked the landing page for the Get Paid Clients Challenge, and it was like you were reading my mind. That's what you want. When you say something, it needs to not just outline the problem, but it needs to be in their language. For example, one thing that I noticed that a lot of my audience says, a lot of you don't say, or maybe some of you don't say free sessions, you say, or a lot of you say pro bono sessions. So for me, I take notes and I'm like, okay, pro bono sessions, that's the language. And so it's not enough just to speak in the language, to identify the problem, but identify the language that they use to describe the problem. If you can do that, something psychological happens that they immediately, as that happens, they assume that you are the go-to professional and that you have the solution. And it just creates this attraction force. How powerful is that, right? And so that's part of what you get in working with somebody, even if it's just for 20 days. All right. After conducting your program, ask them for a testimonial, right? So simple. Before you even in the discovery call, you tell them, hey, at the end of the program, I'm giving this like all away. I just want some testimonials because I'm building my profile. That's it. And that's true whether you're doing this for a long time or whether you're not doing it for a long time. I'm even still doing that, right? I've got tons and tons of testimonials, but I want more, right? And so that's relevant there. If they agree, then after the one-on-one session, send them the simple guide to make it easy for them to do. Again, the more easy you make things for people to do, the more likely they will do them. We call it relieving the creative burden. And it's one of the keys to effective executive communication. So that's the framework. Take a screenshot, but of course, I'm going to send that to you afterwards as well. 4, relaunch a paid version of the program. So your first version of the program was a free program. The first 30-day Get Paid Clients Challenge that I did was free. Maybe some of you were in that program, right? And I got your testimonials, which a lot of you maybe saw on my landing page. That was from that program. You use the same reach out messages for the next 5 people on your list. So you did the first 5 people, you helped them for free, you got testimonials. And now when you're reaching out to find your next 5 people to work with, I'm taking in 5 people, right? The only difference is instead of offering it at 100% scholarship or 100% off, you offer it at 80% off or 90% off. For example, so the same thing you would say, by the way, do you know anybody who has this problem, looking for this result in this time? I'm taking on 5 case studies at 80% off for my lose 5 in 5 weeks challenge or program. And I just want to get some testimonials. I've helped these 5 people, it's your previous testimonials, get these results. What happened? All of a sudden, the perceived likelihood of achievement went up because they're like, whoa, if that person helped those people, I think they can help me. And then you say, is there anyone you know looking for the same results? And again, a lot of the time people are going to say, me, does this make sense? And so then you say, okay, they can sign up, yeah. Or okay, you can sign up, yeah. Right? So same thing. And so now what's happening is you're simply repeating the same process, each time raising it by 20% or 10% for each group of 5 people that you take in until it's 0% off, basically full price. So in the example, that means if you are charging $1,000, and that's a very low ticket price to begin with, right? As an example, like it's a low high ticket price, right? So I'm just using a low example. That means if it's $1,000, if your offer is $1,000, the first 5 people are going to get that offer free of cost. But the next time, if you offer it at 80% off, that's $200 per sign up. If you get 200% off, then it's a full $1,000, 3 sales, and you have your first $3,000. And all of a sudden, $3,000 doesn't seem that big at all. It actually seems pretty small, right? So it's limited to one's willingness to really go through that process. Okay. After that, you continue increasing it by 20% each time until you steadily approach the highest possible number that you and your market feel comfortable with. So now you can start pushing it up 20% each time for each new group. So now it's, $1,200 until you get to $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever the case may be. That is how, everyone, you get paid clients in 30 days, more or less, without using social media or paid ads or technical websites or any of that stuff. And then you can scale the simple approach to having your own high ticket offer. That is the process. That's all of that I've given to you. So if you are at a place, was this helpful, by the way? I really want to get your feedback, genuinely, like more or less, like in a scale from 1 to 10, like how valuable was this, right? And I'm open to your honesty because I'm always seeking feedback, right? Was this helpful? Was this clear? Maybe it was a little bit quick, maybe a little bit overwhelming, right? I totally get that. But was it helpful? Okay, so I see some of you like, yeah, indicating it was helpful. Great. Okay, great stuff. You're very generous, giving me very high scores. All right, amazing. Great, I'm happy that it was helpful. So some of you are at potentially a place where you're like, okay, this was really helpful, but now I got to go and do this, right? Now that I know this, I got to go and implement this, and you absolutely can. I have full faith in you. But if there are any of you who are at a place where you want to do this quicker and with more simplicity, avoid some of the common headaches, right? Then I want you to comment help in the chat, just so we know. If there's anybody who's saying, this is amazing, thanks so much, I'm going to go do this on my own. So any of our DIY people here tonight, you are more than welcome to log off because we're 3 minutes away from closing time. If you need to go, or if you don't and you'd like to stay, you're more than welcome to stay and just kind of watch if you're curious. Worst case scenario, you lose 10, 15 minutes max. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transition over to sharing with you our 30-day program, what that looks like. I'm going to share it with you very quickly. So, if you are interested, be sure to book a call, and that's where we're going to dive through each component in detail. All right. So this is the 30-day Get Paid Clients Challenge. It's the mentorship program where I help coaches get their first paid clients without all of that stuff, as I mentioned. We go through step 1, which is ensuring that you have a profitable niche, customer avatar, making sure that you have an irresistible offer. So the first 2 things, making sure that you have an attraction system. That was step 3, to market your offer without social media and so on, using warm outreach, and how to conduct the scholarship calls or the onboarding calls. What do you say, how to say. Continuing on launching your offer, getting high testimonials. Step 4 was what I shared, just now. How do you implement the process of actually selling? So how do you sell a high ticket offer? What do you say, how to say, again, without being weird or salesy, but still being confident. and then some bonus steps as well in terms of, once you started getting paid clients, now you want to start automating it. You want some systems so that things are more streamlined, so that it's ready to scale, so that you're not like an employee in your business, but you're actually working on your business, and you can also then delegate if you want to. My mentor, because of a lot of the automations that he has, one of my mentors, who's in Romania, has a $30,000 to $40,000 business, and just as a one-person business, right? And because there are so many available systems and automations, right? So automation is a key opportunity to really leverage. And we touch on some of the basic systems that you need to be able to start automating things, right? Bonus step 2 is, how do you scale? So once you started getting your first paid clients, how do you start using paid ads to scale? Because it makes it much easier. And then step 3 is, how do you position yourself as a go-to expert in your niche on social media without spending hours and hours trying to create content, but rather spending like an hour or two once per month or once per week even to fill your entire content calendar for the week, 2 weeks, or even 4 months, right? And this isn't about getting organic leads from social media necessarily. That's more long-term. This is about when people are making the decision to work with you, oftentimes right afterwards, they go check your social media because they're asking, can I trust this person? Do I like this person? And your content oftentimes determines that. So how do you put that positioning there, but without wasting too much time on it? So that's what we do there as a bonus step 3. 4 one-on-one mentorship sessions to help them implement. So if you are trying to get your paid clients for the first time, it's kind of like driving a ship or captaining a ship, but you've never captained a ship before, and you're trying to get to your treasure island, which is your first paid clients. But what if, and I give you the roadmap and I give you the tools and everything, but you're still kind of new. And so you might get there, but you might not. And most people, if you give them a framework or strategy, most people don't implement, right? Even Tony Robbins, considered one of the top in the industry. He's one of his signature courses. I think the success rate for that, or the completion rate for that, is like less than 10%. So that goes to show that information and step-by-step guidance aren't as valuable, and people aren't as helpful necessarily. And that's where mentorship is very helpful. And that's I think the most valuable part of the program is mentorship, helping. So it's like kind of having somebody sit next to you and helping you to navigate towards your goal so that you can get there quicker and easier. That's a simple part of it. An implementation calendar, because the biggest risk is, that sounds like amazing program, Warren, but what if I don't get the results, right? And the biggest vulnerability in the program is really with the participants' willingness and ability to really implement. And so we have an implementation calendar to ensure that they know exactly what they need to do on a daily basis, and they have an accountability check-in with me every Sunday where they send in questions where I get to see how they're doing, what they're not doing, so I can help coach, mentor them accordingly. All right. And then of course I help them. I help them on a weekly basis for 4 weeks in a row, but then I also help them in between the sessions on WhatsApp, provide support. I give them homework, etc. Then I give them tools like sales presentations, which are extremely important in the decision-making process. Whether people buy or not is how professional or good looking your presentation is, because again, they're going off something quite intangible. If you're selling a mouse or something more tangible, it's much easier. But if you're selling something like coaching or mentoring, your sales presentation is a huge part of that. So any sales presentation that I'm using that's working the best is just copy and paste it, is one of the tools and templates, Canva tools and templates that I give the coaches to use. The flyer, which then later becomes the ad. These are some of the ones that I've done for the coaches in the program on the right. These are some of the ads that we've used quite well, that have been performing quite well on the left. And so again, they get to use these templates so that they can market their offers. And I actually do probably 70 to 80% of this work for them. So I've actually designed most of these for the coaches. Again, 70 to like 80%. And then they don't have to kind of build it from scratch, especially if you don't have like design skills and that kind of thing, or you don't want to get stuck into, or you're not sure what would be the most attractive heading or headline to make it really attractive. And then basic social media templates for those to get started on social media, sales scripts, what to actually say when somebody jumps on a call with you for the first time, second time, etc. What do you actually say so that you can say it confidently, calmly, and so that you can close with confidence, basically. There is a guarantee, which basically says if you don't get your first paid client or your next paid client by the end of 30 to 60 days, I, Warren Nel, personally will stay with you and support you until you do get your first paid client for as long as it takes. big disclaimer and condition is that they've done everything required to follow the strategy and complete the checklists, with required amount of daily activities. A certificate of completion for after the program to kind of boost the credibility and coaching profile. And then this is everything in the program, right? One-on-one mentorship calls, sessions week to week, the one-on-one Get Paid Clients framework, where I help them to implement that, the ad flyers, which is done for them, the professional presentation, which they copy and paste and can start using to sell, social media templates, and then the sales scripts, what to say, how to say it. It's all valued at $2,645. And then the special offer that I have, and I'm only taking a couple of people at a time because I really literally only have that much capacity. And I work quite closely with the coaches. I'm available 5 days a week. And so not on the weekends. Pretty much, again, they have the one-on-one mentorship session. I start helping them build those 4 steps, give them homework, give them feedback, accountability, coaching, etc., etc. And so the special offer is $627, and it is valid until March 10th, which I think is Sunday. So that's pretty much that. We have payment plans as well. So if you want to pay in 2 payments, 3 payments, or 6 payments. So maybe you're like, I don't have $627, but I can muster up $117, right? And so, yeah, if that is you and you're interested in that, again, I think Mona shared the discovery link or the Calendly link with you in the chat already. And I think I'll ask you to send it via email as well, if that's possible. And so if anybody is interested in that is it. Yes. So thanks so much for having me. That is how to get paid clients without using social media in a nutshell, and then also an opportunity for those who are interested in the implementation.